Hello and welcome to a very special sales page teardown episode. Today we'll be looking at how to sell a live workshop with a sales page. We actually got a little lucky. This MindValley sales page for their Extraordinary Summit popped up in my email box yesterday, and then today one for IWT's new program popped up also. So we're going to take a look at both of them because they both have totally different ways of selling that depending on where you're at, you can use one or the other. If you've got like this big name guru type thing, then you can use one. And if you have less of a name in your industry, you're still trying to establish yourself, you can use the other. And either way, there's plenty of other cool tricks you'll learn along the way. So let's dive into this. If you got a sales page to write for a live event or workshop for your personal development, whatever, here's what to do. So first, check out the MindValley website for design inspiration. These guys have beautiful friggin' sales pages. So if you're not sure exactly how you want it to look, if you're worried about just like one long big block of text copy and like, oh, how do I break all this up? MindValley does phenomenal design. So if you got the money for a designer to get a real like personal site going, use them for inspiration. Okay, now let's take a look at how they open the site. They pretty much say, okay, here's the Extraordinary Summit. It's a 2-day experience. They just tell you what it is, who it's featuring. You can join Vishen Lakhiani. And that, that's the CEO. That name is going to carry a lot of weight. This is why they can ask for a sale right now. People are just like, okay, a weekend summit, hang out with Vishen, like, yeah, I'm in. Just give me that. So they'll throw in the buy button right then. And you can do that too. I looked over this sales page where it's for this like dating program, and this is one of those dating guys who has a big name in the industry. And his audience would just like love to be in a room with him more than anything else. And the sales page, the first draft of it started with, it was like 5 reasons why women, whatever, and it was like teaching them about stuff before getting into the offer. And I was like, no, dude, like open with the offer. People want to hang out with this guy. That's the big ticket here. Just get into like, hey, you know that guy you've been idolizing? Here's your chance to hang out with him for a weekend. Like that's huge. Actually, it was a whole week. So yeah, you can be straightforward, and especially if you have this kind of like, guru guy that people want to be around, then you can just ask for the sale right then even. And now, of course, that's not going to sell everybody, so they want to know what the hell's about, so that's when we dive into the sales page. Now, what MindValley does really well is position this product. So positioning is how your customer views what your offer is, what you're selling. And a great way to sort of get like, here's a great way to get them thinking about like, getting your offer into their brain so they have a clear understanding what it is comparing it to other stuff that's out there. If you're comparing, your friend's never been to Chipotle and you're like, oh, it's like a Subway restaurant, except it's Mexican food and it's much higher quality. Like, oh, okay, like now I understand it. So what they do is they position this against their own products. So this is going out to people who are already familiar with Vishen, already familiar with MindValley, already seems like they're already pretty hot because there's really not a whole lot of hard selling going on the sales page. So they talk about, oh, last time I did this event, it was back in 2010. It turned into this big thing called A-Fest or Awesomeness Fest, that requires an application and thousands of people apply and only a few get in. So they're right off the bat, they're positioning this basically as a more, what's the word? It's like an alternative to their main course. It's like, oh, you couldn't get into this one, or this was too expensive or whatever. Well, here's a secondary option, a more convenient option. And then they go into also position it against their online courses. Where is that? Yes, right here. So they talk about how it's like going it's like their online courses, but this is the next level. You know, he talks about how there are certain things I cannot teach in written word or online. I need my students live in the room with me. And now this is big. He goes into the reason why he needs you live and in the room with me. This is because I bring in modalities like hypnotherapy, group learning, and subconscious programming to give people an accelerated growth experience. So that's big, because he's not just saying that, oh, this is better than my online courses. He's giving proof why. And so as he's positioning against his other events, he's not discouraging them. He's not saying this is, oh, you thought this was good, this is even better. Or he kind of is good stuff for the online courses. But he's not saying like, oh, that's not that great anyway. He's like, yeah, that thing you may have already bought is great. And if you want even more, then you can join this program. He even drives that point home again when he's talking about, oh, if you've read my books, the summit is the next level of that. So they're straightforward with what this offer is. You know, transformational personal and business workshop, chance to hang out with Vishen, and position it as, oh, it's kind of like these other things, but it's more convenient than our other get together, and it's more powerful than simply the online course. It's a level up. All right, so then they go from that, like they position it, and they talk a bit. They get on the pain a little bit. You know, we can be employees or superstar employees. It's kind of touching at that desire to be more, to be bigger, to live a more extraordinary life. They kind of gloss over it, so I will. And then they go into the benefits of, you know, here's all the stuff you'll be learning, with little paragraphs just to explain it in a bit more detail. And then they kind of take another swing at the benefits you get out of it, deeper purpose in life. You'll be able to take more action. Cool. So highlight the benefits, then give you another chance to buy after they've got you salivating at all those lovely benefits. Then they introduce the speakers, visions, some other people, the venue, some testimonials. These, if you don't, I mean, they get big names like Jack Canfield. If you don't have testimonials, I love when people can get testimonials in before you really ask for the sale, because testimonials are super powerful. And when you bury them at the end, that seems dumb, because then people are just going to not read them. All right, and then limiting it to a few hundred spots. Better if they could be a bit more specific. You know, we're not sure exactly how many people. We know it won't be over 800. Just to get, because a few hundred spots is just not that inspiring of scarcity as much as a specific number would be. All right, and then they ask for you to buy. This is a weird thing. They cross out this $14.95 number, which doing this does increase. You know, it shows you're getting a deal. People love a deal, so it will increase. It does increase for conversions. But the problem I see with doing this is they don't justify this $14.95 number. They just kind of pull it out of nowhere and say it's not what you're paying. It's much better if you can like justify this high price and then be like, oh, but for XYZ reasons, real reasons, not just because I'm such a generous guy, because bullshit, they don't believe that. You know, give real reasons for why you're pricing it the way you're pricing it. If you don't know, just think harder, because you can always find a real reason. Now, one thing these guys have is an early bird discount of $200. This, I didn't even see this the first time I read this. I don't know why this isn't more predominant. I would want to use this instead. Maybe they know something I don't, but this is a real discount. And so why not just say like, hey, why not have the $9.95 number be the one crossed out? Because that's not just a number pulled out of their ass. That is a real number that other people will be paying if they're not the first 50. So that gets a lot of urgency, and that will have people buying more. All right, so then after they introduce the sale, they have a FAQ section. Frequently asked questions. This is a great little section to throw in. Because there's going to be annoying little logistical questions that people have that will block them from buying, that you can just answer quick and clearly here. And B, Sometimes people will skim, so you can just get straight to what they're looking for. Like, oh, what is this program? How much does it cost? Can I just buy tickets to the doors? These are all real questions that the people are going to have on the sales page. Is there Wi-Fi? Just simple, logistical, real questions that are surprisingly blocking sales if you don't address them. And then they give you another chance to buy. This is pretty much saying all the same stuff they said above. They're just saying it again because you have scrolled down all this way. I love how they're ending it on a call to action. It drives me crazy when there's a sales page and it'll be like all these testimonials at the bottom or whatever, and then no call to action. They make you scroll up again. Like, make it as easy as possible for the reader to buy your stuff, and you'll sell more of it. So yeah, ending on a call to action. Now, so that's the structure of their sales page. One thing I think that they could do even better. Let's find that example. Right. So when they're talking about their benefits, I think they could do a lot more to make these more clear and pump them up. I'll give you an example. So one of the subheads, keeping your mind active during sleep. Like, okay, why do I care about that? This would be stronger if it was like, solving your biggest whatever problems in your sleep. If it was something more of a clear benefit, that would make this headline more interesting. And then look at how they describe it. We all know the mind is heavily active during sleep, but are you harnessing this time to resolve problems in your waking life? I'll teach you how with simple hacks to direct your unconscious mind during dream time. Okay, so that's somewhat enticing. Like, oh, I can learn hacks to direct my unconscious mind. But it's almost enticing, because one thing it's missing would be like a clear example. I'm going to show you an example of someone who made a similar thing sound way more enticing. And that's a recent post from John Carlton. He's talking about what I assume is a pretty similar thing. He starts off with, do you know you can use sleep as a productivity tool? Like that, okay, already that's a better headline. Sleep as a productivity tool as opposed to keep your mind active during sleep. Like, which one sounds more enticing? Which are you going like, ooh, yeah, tell me more? So John gives a clear promise. You'll get more done at a higher quality after a 1-hour nap than if you drag out, than you'll ever drag out of your brain in 5 hours of exhausted effort. So he's already made it more enticing with the headline, and he's made a clear promise of being more productive against dragging it, and while addressing that pain of, slogging through a long workday where you're just cramming things out and not getting much done. So then he goes into a specific example. All right, he's not just talking like this is something the MindValley page doesn't do at all. They just say like, oh, we can solve problems, and then John talks about some of my best headlines blurbed up after a nap. I just asked my brain to distill all the info and ideas I crammed into it while I snoozed and deliver a good headline when I woke up. Voila. Cool part, once you get into this hack, naps are technically work. So he's giving a specific example and a juicy one. As a copywriter or, if you're a business owner, the idea of going to bed or taking a nap in the middle of the day and waking up with a beautiful headline, like, hell yeah, teach me that. That's, again, more enticing than direct your subconscious mind during dream time. Okay, compare that to, I'll show you how to take a nap where you can get a beautiful headline. MindValley shouldn't use that because that's, their audience isn't copywriters, but something more specific. You could, if Vishen just shared an example of a time he used it, that could resonate with the audience. That would be a great place for it. And then John even drives it home with painting a clear picture, so you can toss the guilt and legitimately tell folks you're working while hitting the couch. So he's summarizing it and painting this beautiful picture of like how cool would it be to tell your friends like, yeah, no, I'm actually working, and go take a nap. It gets more emotion into it because now it's like that feeling of just like, oh yeah, guys, you guys go work hard and beat your head against the desk. I'm going to take a nap and come out of that with something better than you just put all this effort into. So this is a point I beat home ad nauseum on my site about being descriptive with your language, giving clear examples. And so, yeah, I've got more information on that if you want to check it out at thepdcopywriter.com. And now I want to jump into, so this is a great sales page, especially if you have, this kind of like guru type that people already are interested in being around. But what if you don't? So how do you open a sales page to your workshop if you're newer to the industry? If, hey, spending 2 days with me isn't a huge selling point. For that, let's take a look at the IWT sales page. This is for a brand new product that they're just having like this kind of meetup group thing party in New York City. Now these guys do have guru type in Ramit. You can just be like, hey, want to spend 2 days hanging out with me, but that's not really what they're selling, because it's not about, like, I guess the time with Ramit is probably limited, so they can't just sell that and not have that be the case. So anyway, I'm rambling. If you're not a big shot yet, another way to open your sales page for your workshop would be with a story, and that's exactly what these guys do. So rather than a headline of, whoops, that's not it, a headline of, oh, a 2-day, here's what you're getting, here's who it's with, blah, blah. Their headline is just the question going on in the audience for the reader right now. So you got to know, this is an example of how important it is to know your audience. For the IWT readers, these are people who are getting into this personal development stuff, and a big pain point is feeling alone. Like you're just doing all, like, okay, I'm starting a business and none of my friends are starting a business. How do I get support for this thing that I'm doing? So that's what they do. They start with the question going on in the reader's mind, and then they address the problem with a story about meeting friends in college, and then how difficult it is to meet friends after college. They talk about, at work, that doesn't work. At bars, nobody cares about you. Everyone's just hanging out with their own friends. Online, you don't really meet friends there. So they're showing like how stuck this person is, or giving specific examples of how this is a real problem. And then they drive home even deeper of, like, this isn't just a problem for, like, this is a problem for everyone, and it's especially a problem if you're, trying to grow, if you're trying to develop yourself, start a business, learn new languages. Then if you've got friends that are just content, that can be even more painful and difficult. And they do that with a specific example. They don't just say, like, oh, man, doesn't it suck to try to grow and become a better person when your friends aren't doing the same thing? Like, okay, yeah, that's true, and it's also vague, and come on, dude, be more specific of what you're talking about. So they go in with a story. Last year, one of my coworkers told us how she stumbled across a science book on Amazon, got interested, and bought it. That weekend at dinner, her friends asked what she'd been reading lately. When she told them, one of them looked at her and said, "That sounds retarded." Boom! All right, they're driving home a specific example, which is making the problem more clear, and at the same time making it more emotional. By telling that story, you can kind of like feel that sadness, hopelessness, despair of, like, wow, I'm trying to grow and better myself, and my friend's just shooting me down. That sucks. And the reader's going to identify on some level with that. They're going to, like, maybe even if they didn't have an exact experience like that, they still know the pain of not feeling supported by their friends, and having a specific example makes that pain feel more real, awakens their emotions, which will get them to buy because they want that pain to go away. And so then they talk about, let's see. Oh yeah, so they go into the problem, and then they start introducing the solution again as a story. This time it's a Ramit story of, okay, and then I went to, I used to have that problem too, and then I went to this workshop, and I met Chase Jarvis, and now we're friends and we do business together, and how great's that? And this transformation I went through, this way I made friends, like I came out the other end and now you can too, and here's how, and here's my product. So that is the other angle to take, is telling the story of why that leads them into why that they would need this thing that you have for them. And that's, here's the pain, look, everything else, nothing else around works. I've been through it too. I've come out the other end. Here's the way to do it. Here you go. Okay, so recap all the things I've been yammering about. For starters, if you want your website to look pretty, check out mindvalley.com for inspiration. Their design's beautiful. Also, the I Will Teach You to Be Rich sales pages, particularly for their newer products, have great design that you can check out and use for inspiration as well. If you've got like a person, if you're selling a thing and people are already excited about being in the room with you, make that a key selling point. Look, this is straight in the subhead, join Vision. People want to join Vision. They like Vision. They're inspired by Vision. That's why they're part of the damn thing. If they don't, then you might, if you don't have like a name, or if your name doesn't carry all that much weight yet, you can just open with a story and really get into the pain, show you understand their pain. You've been through it. Show why it's not their fault. The other things out there don't work, and then get into the solution, which then leads to your sale. And finally, there's, like I said, there's your sales page isn't going to be perfect. You're going to find a million like tips and hacks for how to do a sales page, and like one of them is make sure you tell a story. And Extraordinary Summit doesn't really do that. They don't really tell a personal story. They just tell a story about their own products, and for positioning sake. And they don't throw in bonuses. They don't really have a close. There's no, but wait, there's more. And you know what? They're doing just fine. they're some of the top dogs in the industry. So just know that when you're writing your sales page, don't worry about all the scary things you think you have to include, because the fact of the matter is no sales page is perfect. But hopefully you learn some things in here that will help you write yours. And I'm going to go do something else. Watch this video on the Ask formula that I'm working on for my next product launch. So till next time, happy selling out your workshops. And if you learn anything useful, share in the comments below. Peace.